Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name's Farah Halabi and I'm a professional Muslimah life coach, and today I'd like to ask you a question. How have you looked after yourself today? How have you shown yourself kindness, compassion, mercy, forgiveness? Now the reason I'm asking is today, subhanAllah, has been a wonderful Friday, mashallah. A bit of a different one today. I was working from home as I usually do, but I was booked in to give a talk in person, which didn't happen in person, but alhamdulillah, with the miracle that is Zoom, subhanallah, I was able to deliver the session online and still get the engagement and still be able to interact. For any of you who know me, I don't like to sit behind a screen or lecture or talk. I love the engagement, and subhanallah, well, it comes really from being a bit of a nose parker, really, and wanting to know what is going on for you. But today, mashallah, I was able to do that from the comfort of my own office. But I had two small children who were homesick from school. And so navigating today, doing what I want to do on a Friday, what I usually do on a Friday, and looking after them and working from home, it's been a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle that's, putting all the pieces together, but subhanallah, all good. I don't know if you can hear my voice. I think I've got the leg. I think I've caught what my children have got. But it's really shown me today that I was delivering a talk on Ramadan, on Ramadan guilt, on that feeling of the onset of Ramadan and that panic and overwhelm and guilt that may come over you, that may overcome you, especially as a woman, and especially as a Muslim woman, but as someone who has a lot of plates to spin, a lot of things going on, your home, your work, your family, community, all of the things that you do. And on the run up to Ramadan, you may have a lot of different things. Like, we're now 28 days until Ramadan, inshallah, if we're going for the 23rd of March. So 28 days, I believe, today. It's 4 weeks. What were you thinking about Ramadan 4 weeks before Ramadan last year? Or 4 weeks before Ramadan previous years? What did you feel about Ramadan after Ramadan last year? Or after Ramadan in years gone by? And for a lot of the women that I speak to, there is this sense of overwhelm, rushing, getting really, really bogged down with the doing, with the organising, with the onset of WhatsApp messages and Ramadan journals and all of the well-intentioned stuff, how to have the best Ramadan of your life. And mashallah, it's all very well-intentioned, but sometimes when you've got so many lists and tips, it becomes overwhelming. And then you've got to factor in your life, because life doesn't stop during Ramadan. And the more that we build up this sense of what it means to be or to have a successful Ramadan, it's not really in keeping with the reality of what we've going on, especially for the women that I speak to. When we talk about how they feel on the run up to Ramadan, that overwhelm, that feeling rushed, that thinking, I left Ramadan last year feeling like I hadn't done enough, and the kids and work and home and family just get in the way. And they feel that sense of almost guilt or feeling like they failed Ramadan before it's even begun. So now, 4 weeks up until Ramadan, with again the flurry of journals and courses and everything that is coming up at the minute, that habitual feeling of overwhelm is here already, and Ramadan's not even here yet. But that feeling of, I've got so much to do, I'm not going to get it done, I never get the chance to read as much Quran as I want to, there's always something that's needing my attention, work's really difficult at the minute, it's really full on, the kids are at that idyllic stage, I'm like potty training or breastfeeding, or there's always something that requires your attention, that requires something of you. And when you think about what is going to get in the way, when you focus all the reasons why you can't do Ramadan or have the Ramadan that you want, that's all you can see. It's all you can see. It's all that is in your mind, all the different ways in which you're not going to done that you want. So that stops you from even trying. But when you sit and think about what a successful Ramadan means for you, and then take that image, that picture, that goal, and if you popped that onto tracing paper. Now, for those of you who are a little bit, probably my age, I remember, tracing paper. If you were to put your Ramadan, your ideal Ramadan, onto a bit of tracing paper, and then place that tracing paper onto the routine that is your life currently, what you do in your world, how your life is looking, like how you're, like the age of your kids, where you are in your job, where you are in your business, where you are in your family, what you do on a daily basis, and you place that ideal Ramadan, successful Ramadan, what you have decided, and put that onto the outline that is your life currently. Do they converge? Do they align? Or is there massive gaps? Now you might be thinking, what are you going on about, love? But just keep with me. When you think about what it is or what it takes to have a successful Ramadan, you're thinking about, or you could be thinking about whatever it is that you think about for a successful Ramadan, but it isn't in keeping with what your life is like now. Life doesn't pause during Ramadan. Your kids, you can't just, mute them or pause them. You can't pause work. You can't pause your family. You can't, stick a pin in the community. You don't stop time. Your life, the way that it is lived right now, is part and parcel of you having that Ramadan experience. And for a lot of the women I speak to, it feels like that's the reasons why they can't have the Ramadan that they want, because at present, their life, as they live it, with everything going on, doesn't align, doesn't converge, doesn't allow for them to have what they believe is a successful Ramadan. And they give up before they even, try. It deflates them. It makes them feel like there's no point then. But what if your successful Ramadan, that goal, that ideal, that dream, if you like, was different? Not saying to dream about a less successful Ramadan or a almost successful Ramadan. We're not limiting on what, the level of success here. But you created that dream of an ideal successful Ramadan. It's, you are the one that has decided what that looks like. But if you were to think about all of the things that at the moment seem to be getting in the way of you having that. So whether it be your home, your job, your kids, whatever it is that you think is getting in the way or an obstacle to you having that successful Ramadan, and focusing on what your life looks like right now. How can you utilize and convert, if you like, those challenges into a way of you optimizing them to have the Ramadan that you would like? Because if you think about the actual goal, why is it that you want to have a successful Ramadan in the way that you think a successful Ramadan should be? Is it not to connect with Allah, to be able to be rewarded the blessings of the beautiful month, to feel the rahmah, to feel the mercy, to feel the forgiveness, to feel the compassion, the kindness, the security, the safety, that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it not to worship Him and show that active worship through your fasting, through your salah, through all the things that you do during Ramadan? Isn't it to feel that closeness to Him? You can utilize everything that you may have perceived as a challenge and change that into a way to achieve and receive those blessings that you really want. And it doesn't come from, completely morphing yourself into someone else. It comes from what you think and believe. So I'll give you an example. Today in the talk that I delivered, one of the obstacles for one of the ladies was, she's got young kids, and they take up her time, and they're in need of her time, of her presence, of her energy, of her connection. So she may not have, or she feels that she won't have enough time to dedicate to reading the Quran as much as she would have liked, to have the energy, because she's not going to be eating, she's going to be fasting. So she's thinking, she's already feeling tired, and then looking after the kids, and just not having that energy and motivation to do the active acts of worship. And when we spoke about how in life, not just in Ramadan, but on an everyday basis, the blessings that you are rewarded for looking after your kids, for nurturing them, for being with them, if you think about the rewards of smiling in our faith, a smile is an act of charity. Now, you're smiling to your children, who are your amana, but also a means of receiving the most amazing blessings, the interactions that you have with them, the nurturing, the teaching, the showing the beautiful characteristics and personality traits of the Prophet, kindness, generosity, patience. You do that to your children on a daily basis, and you are rewarded the blessings of that interaction. You do that during Ramadan, and you've got ibadah-filled parenting. If you do so, intentionally deciding that you are parenting your kids in a way that you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by. So you can turn everything that you do into an act of worship. We're told that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that he did not create us except but to worship him. It wasn't just in the worship through salah, or through fasting, or through hajj. The 5 pillars, yes, absolutely, they're there. But outside of those times, we don't pray 24 hours a day. We don't fast 24 hours a day. We don't go to hajj 24 hours a day. But we do think. We are aware. We are, mulling things over all the time. Even when we're sleeping, subconsciously, we're still doing it. So our intentions, our thoughts, are a really big deal. So if we have the intention to do whatever it is that we do during Ramadan, our life, if you like, whatever it is that in nuts and bolts of your life, whether it be, your work, your community activities, your even, sports, whatever it is that you do in your life on a daily basis, if you do so in Ramadan with the intention of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cooking, being grateful for the food that you've got, feeding, your kids, feeding your family in Ramadan, the blessings of feeding people, amazing, but in Ramadan, even more so. But kind of making an overarching intention to live a life that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in Ramadan, with the intention of doing that specifically, like reiterating it, affirming it, saying it out loud even, but making that intention that you are parenting your kids, doing your job to the best of your abilities, honouring the contract that you have, you are cleaning your home, you're doing all your community endeavours, whatever it is that you do. If you have this caveat, if you like, that you have decided, you've made a decision, an intentional decision to do all of that stuff in a way that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to earn his rewards, then you have changed and transferred and converted all of those possible challenges and obstacles into ways of having a successful Ramadan. Success is what you make of it. Success is what you create. Success is what you decide upon. So if you decide upon now that you are going to have a successful Ramadan, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's going on in your life. He knows you've got kids. He knows you've got to work. He knows that you've got homes and community obligations. He knows what your life is like. He doesn't tell us to pause our lives and go and do Ramadan. That we don't go off on our own and go on to individual little islands and do our, do Ramadan by ourselves. We are, in our lives, in our world, we are sociable beings. We, the blessings of relating to people, the salam that you give, the opportunity to give salam. You can't do that on your own. We're meant to be. Ramadan isn't an absence of life. It is part of our life. And we can use what goes on in our lives as a way of having a successful Ramadan, rather than thinking that our life, whatever's going on around in it, sorry, not around in it, whatever is going on in it, as a means to not having the Ramadan, the successful Ramadan, whatever that means for us. So in this very long video, I didn't mean to be on here this long, but this is essentially what I've been helping the wonderful ladies that have booked onto the Get Ramadan Ready with Farah program. It's really identifying what is their personal, individual idea of success, of a successful Ramadan, of what they actually want to achieve. And when we really dig deep, it's usually the doing, which I appreciate there is. Obviously, our actions are really important. During Ramadan, there's the action of fasting. There are the actions of salah. There's the action of reading Quran. And there's this feeling that they don't get enough time to do it. But you have enough time. We all have enough. Ramadan is a month. If it was meant to be longer, it would be. And if it was meant to be shorter, it would be. But it is a month. There is time. You get to decide what you do with the time that you have. And whilst you're doing whatever it is that you do on a daily basis, you can turn every act, everything that you do, into an act of worship. And by helping the ladies that are on the program one-to-one with their individual, unique challenges and obstacles, and helping them create the bespoke pathway to having the Ramadan that they actually didn't even imagine that they could have, but having the one that makes them feel what they're looking for, because we're all looking for this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we could read the Quran multiple times during Ramadan, and alhamdulillah, yes, absolutely, the blessings of reading the Quran, there's no downside to that. But you could do that. You could fast all the days. You could, pray your salah. You could pray your extra salahs. But if you don't feel that connection, if you don't decide upon that, if you don't decide upon doing that to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to feel his mercy, his forgiveness, his compassion, his love, then in all the doing, yes, there are blessings in all of that doing, absolutely. But that feeling that you're looking for, that feeling that feeling of connection, that you can have by connecting your thinking and your beliefs to deciding ahead of time, like now, you are going to have that Ramadan that you want. You are going to have a successful Ramadan because you are going to utilize everything that you've got as a means of achieving that. And the biggest thing that you have is this here, is your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that he is as his servant thinks of him. Even if you are, outside of salah, outside of, after you've fasted, or if you're late and you can't fast and you can't pray, you're still able to think and communicate and talk to Allah. That thinking, that connection, subhanallah, that is the best me time in the world. That is the best, that one-on-one connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we don't have to go through intermediaries. We've got a direct link with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in all the times that you are thinking the good thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having good beliefs, good expectations, and knowing that he said, ask and he shall give. So you're asking, you're talking to him, you're connecting with him. You believe when he says that he will give you everything that you want. So if you want a successful Ramadan, that success is created by you. It's defined by you. But if you've put all of your successful Ramadan eggs in this very, very limited basket, like I've got to have read the Quran like multiple times, or I've got to have done a lot of stuff, And I'm not against doing all that stuff at all, but doing what you can with what you've got. Because if you get to the end of Ramadan and you haven't done all of that stuff that you have got in your mind that makes a successful Ramadan, you're going to leave Ramadan feeling that Ramadan regret, feeling that Ramadan guilt. But if you approach it with that knowing that you are going to have the most amazing Ramadan, because you are approaching it with what you have and utilizing all of those parts of your life, all of those wonderful, amazing parts of you, all the roles that you play, all of those plates that you spin, all of those definitions of who you are in a way to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being connected to your kids, cleaning your house with gratitude. I did holy ironing, during Ramadan last year and in the pandemic as well, subhanAllah. It was using everything that I have in my life and doing it in a way that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by being intentional about it. And if you would, actually I was going to say, if you would like to know more, I mean, I'm almost fully booked now, so I don't have many spaces left. But if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling just tired already thinking about the Ramadan that you think you're going to have, and that doesn't inspire or motivate you. If you're thinking about Ramadan and thinking it's just going to be the same old, I'm trying, but there's the kids, there's work, there's this, there's that, and you're deflated already, then the level of energy that you bring to Ramadan, it's like dragging your heels a little bit. But just think about approaching the beautiful month with optimism, with certainty, with belief that you are going to have the most successful Ramadan, because you get to define and decide and create what that looks like, using everything that you have around you, everything that you have going on, using all of you, and having that Ramadan and giving yourself the opportunity to be really merciful to yourself. Because like I say, we're looking for that mercy, that forgiveness, that rahmah, that compassion from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it's an opportunity for you to have that for yourself, doing what you can with what you've got, and knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees what is going on for you. He knows what's in your heart. He knows what your intention is. He knows what you have around you. He knows your struggles. He knows your challenges. And He will not burden you with more than you can bear. So going through and approaching the month with optimism, with that faith, with that motivation, with that excitement, experiencing the month with calm, with compassion, with kindness for yourself, with connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and leaving the month feeling satisfied. Alhamdulillah. Yes, there's always more that you can do, but if you feel connected, are there different levels of connection? It's that feeling that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. He knows what has gone on. He knows what your efforts have been. He knows your trials. He knows your obstacles. He knows your challenges. And He knows how you are striving in His name. So being able to leave Ramadan knowing that He knows, and that you are continually striving, but you have done what you could with what you had at the time. And alhamdulillah, leaving the beautiful month with anticipation for next year, not to do over this Ramadan, but to further, to experience another beautiful Ramadan. How would that be for you? Does that sound a bit different to what you've been used to? If it is, then please contact me, private message me, or email connect@farahhalabi.com to see if the slots that are available, there's only a couple of them, but the slots that are available might have your name on it, inshallah. The details are in the comments. If they're not, whichever way you're watching this, I think there should be a little poster or something, but if there isn't, just email me for the details. But we have around about 28 days before Ramadan starts. What would be the best use of your 28 days before Ramadan starts? What would be the best way of you preparing yourself? How would getting Ramadan ready in your own bespoke way feel for you? I'll leave you to ponder that. As always, I pray you are safe, well, happy and healthy, and inshallah I shall be on for another little convo tomorrow. But for now, take care. Assalamu alaikum.